artists, and welcome back to another video. Today we are drawing one of my favorite animals, the shark. So if you want to follow along, grab your supplies and let's get started.
I found this nice reference photo online. When looking for a reference photo, it's important to make sure it's free use and not copyrighted. Pexels.com is a great source, or if you happen to have an Adobe subscription, they have millions of photos as well. I'll get my sketch going and then we will go into all the steps needed to create this shark. Sharks have skin, so their technique for drawing is going to be a lot different than technique for fur. This is most likely going to be 4 to 6 layers, but don't feel overwhelmed. You can do one layer in one sitting and come back to the drawing at a later time. Before we get started on the drawing today, let's talk about blending. There is more than one way to blend color pencils, and today I will show you 4 different ways. Prismacolor's blender pen, their colorless blender pencil, a white pencil, and Vaseline. Up first, we have the blender pen. It works extremely well and doesn't really change the color, it just spreads the color out and gives it a nice, smooth finish. The white color pencil works really well too, but it does shift the color a lot lighter than what it was originally. The blender pencil works the same as the blender pen, but it does take a little bit longer to blend larger sections. And finally, we have the Vaseline. It blends pretty well if you don't have the other options, but on the toned gray paper, I've noticed that it does smear a little and is harder to control. I have not had this issue on white paper though. So now we're all ready to put down our first light layer of colored pencils. Prismacolor happens to have 3 different sets of gray: warm gray, cool gray, and French gray, which is a little bit more beige looking. Since sharks are underwater and surrounded by blue and green, I like to use the cool gray, which tends to look nicer with blue and green tones. And now I'm just going to color block and put in very light, soft layers for this first section. Now that the first layer is done, we're going to be moving on to the second layer, which is going to be putting in some darker shades, lighter shades, as well as some pink around the cheeks and nose. What's cool about the Prismacolor sets of gray is that there are varying shades of how dark they are, so you can always use that same light pressure and you don't have to push harder to get those darker shades. And now we're on to the third layer. Colored pencils build up slowly, so again, we're just going to add another light layer of very soft pressure with a very sharp tip. At the end of this layer, I use the Prismacolor blender pen to start getting a nice smooth base while still allowing for other colors to be placed over top. In this fourth layer, we are going to add some more details to the nose and mouth, as well as really building up that white color. It's going to take a lot of layers to get this white color to be really opaque. This is looking pretty good, so I think we're ready for our last layer. We are going to start burnishing by pushing harder and using the colorless blender pencil to really give the drawing a smooth, finished look. We're going to add in all the extra details and make sure that the highlights and lowlights really pop. Alright, so now the shark's pretty much finished. I'm going to add a basic blue background off camera, but you just build up the background the same way we did for the shark. Alright, and here's the final product with the background added. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!